respective dressing rooms, please obey my commands, respect the bell, and above all, protect yourself at all times. Trunks are good. Touch them up. Touch. All right. Good.
Round number 1 scheduled for 12. Khan and Malignaggi.
Get out, get out,
Amir
get out.
Khan hails from England. He is of Pakistani descent. Had problems getting a work visa. Had to spend extra time in Vancouver before he was able to come back into the States. Normally you'd say, well, that's a big distraction, making your USA debut. Khan told us it was actually a blessing in disguise because he's working in the wild card gym out in Los Angeles. He said, it was just us, me and Freddie and my team in Vancouver, and we were able to really focus on some things.
Don't punch, don't punch. Go ahead.
Watching a high-level boxing contest between two very fast athletic fighters.
See those long arms of Khan.
Khan lands a nice short right hand on the inside. He's landed it a couple times so far this round.
Good left hand by Khan. Right hand by Khan.
Thus far, he is outboxing Malignaggi.
Good stiff jab, doubles up with the left hand, does Amir Khan. Khan steps in with power.
Break.
Malignaggi holds on.
I don't recall Malignaggi being hit this cleanly, this often, this early in a fight.
Khan again touches Malignaggi with the right hand. Works the jab. Precision from Amir Khan right now in round 1.
And we see Khan's height and reach advantage being used to great effect here. It's not so much that he's outspeeding Malignaggi. Maybe he is. They look comparably fast to me. But he's able to hit Malignaggi from a range that Malignaggi's not able to counter from.
You know, Malignaggi likes to have different kinds of trunks for his fights, and he always has a different hairdo. Tonight he came in sort of with a shocked hairdo where his hair is standing up. I think he's a little shocked right now as a fighter at the speed and accuracy from Amir Khan here in round 1. Excellent round 1 for Amir Khan.
Now we count him.
One of the good sequences in round number 1. Watch Amir Khan right there. Touches Malignaggi with the left. Right hand comes in over the top as Malignaggi tries to duck away. And the sense you got in round number 1, Max, is Malignaggi was on the defensive.
Malignaggi's camp believes that Khan has a tendency to reach with his punches, and that Malignaggi would start off fast, build a lead, and make Khan increasingly desperate and increasingly easy to hit. What we saw in the first round is Khan's superior height, reach, and timing counteract everything Malignaggi was trying to do, and it's Khan who's jumped out to the lead.
We're at Madison Square Garden in New York City. HBO's Boxing After Dark. Amir Khan making his United States debut against Paulie Malignaggi as Khan puts his 140-pound title on the line. Earlier tonight, Victor Ortiz, an easy 10-round decision against Nate Campbell.
You also see that Khan's a guy who holds his hands high. Malignaggi holds his hands low. When they both jab, Khan's defense is in a position to stop Malignaggi's jab, Malignaggi's face is open for Khan.
Step, step, step.
At this point, the 23-year-old Khan has shown very nice poise. Steps in with a combination.
You know, for a light hitter, Khan really has the mentality of a fighter. When he's hit, his reaction, even though he's a defensive fighter, his reaction is to throw right back. He's a very tough guy, Malignaggi.
Plus, Max, when you look at his frame and his size, I mean, he's going to just add weight, move up in weight class, and fill out even nicer. He's just 23.
You mean Khan?
Khan.
Yeah.
Don't go on his neck. Don't go on his neck.
So far, it looks like very good matchmaking from Golden Boy. You see Khan not having to worry too much about what's coming back at him.
Malignaggi ducked away, caught the end of a left hand, nothing severe. You know, one of the things Malignaggi self-scouted, he said, one of my problems in my career is my inconsistency, that I just have lapses. Tonight, he cannot have any lapses against Amir Khan. End of round 2. Through the first 2 rounds, Khan has landed 23 of 73 jabs, 32%. Malignaggi 5 of 42. Malignaggi opens up to start round 3. I like what his trainer Sharif Yunan did right. They said, don't look around the ring. Look at me. Stay focused.
Yeah, usually that instruction would be given to Paulie because he won a couple rounds and then maybe gave a round or 2 away. In this case, Malignaggi's losing his fight. He's fighting his fight and he's losing it. It's a high-speed chess match, and he's down a couple pawns in the early rounds.
A little short with that right hand off the combination.
Good counter hook by Malignaggi.
Don't punch. Step, 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 Paulie. Step, step.
See something over Khan's left eyebrow, Bob?
It might be a little red. No blood.
Break. Don't punch. Don't punch. No, no, Paulie. Step around, baby. Step around.
Malignaggi mistimes that counter left hook.
Punch out, Amir. Punch out. Punch out, Amir. Punch out. That's it. Punch out.
Malignaggi touches him with the left. It feels like a better round for Malignaggi.
Like he's figuring a few things out. Still not winning the round, but finding more success landing his own shots.
Hurt, don't punch him. No, no, let go, let go. Hey.
Khan touched him to the body, then a right hand up top.
Seeing as how Khan's left eyebrow does look like it's discolored, and how Malignaggi has that mouse under his left eye, Malignaggi maybe do well to start finding a more consistent home for his right hand, start targeting that eye.
End of round number 3 in the schedule, 12. Round number 4 begins for Amir Khan and Paulie Malignaggi. Let's check in once again with Harold Letterman.
Okay, Bob. 3-0, 30-27, Amir Khan. Bob, let me ask you something. Why would Paulie Malignaggi fight this fight right in front of Amir Khan? Where are the angles? Where is the circling? He's not using that ring at all. It's like his feet are glued to the canvas. And Amir Khan can't miss him. Amir Khan keeps him right on the end of that jab in perfect distance. Malignaggi doesn't circle whatsoever. No movement. He's just standing in front of him, and Amir Khan's pounding on him. 3-0, Amir Khan.
Well,
Why, Max?
Something that jumps to mind is that Khan is not pressuring him. He's not fighting a sloppy defensive fight. Khan is staking out of the middle of the ring and coming in behind the jab, but then not trying to press Malignaggi all over the ring. So Malignaggi to bounce all around Khan and try to give him angles. I suppose he could try, to my eye, when he has tried, he's been met with counter shots and foiled.
To Harold's point about the jab, combination there from Khan. Khan's landed 38% of his jabs to this point, according to CompuBox.
It's much easier to bounce around Juan Diaz when he's coming to get you all the time. Much harder to bounce around a good, responsible defensive boxer who has a longer reach than you, who's taller than you, who's just as fast and may have better timing.
Here's the thing, Khan is fighting not only a good fight, but a smart fight. Right, Juan Diaz just comes in and throws punches and punches. Malignaggi moves around him, creates angles. Here, Khan is pretty traditional, but really foundation solid.
Right, the idea there Malignaggi had some moments with the left hook. He had a good moment with the left hook in the previous round. The idea, you know, what can Khan prove in a fight like this? Because the real question mark about him is his chin. Well, as I mentioned, he can prove that he has A boxing ability, grade A boxing ability. In outboxing a master boxer like Malignaggi, that's what Khan's doing.
And it's his first trip on the road.
That's right, and that he can handle the atmosphere of fighting on the road. Of course, Khan does have a lot of supporters here, as it turns out.
Don't punch, step out of here.
In fact, Malignaggi seems to be having his best success when he muscles Khan around the ring a little.
End of round number 4.
Okay?
Now, Paulie Malignaggi got a little aggressive in the last round, tried to press the fight a little bit, and Khan countered him with a short right hand inside.
He did, but Malignaggi also Khan in that round.
Round number 5 underway.
Step out, guys. Good.
Max, one of the questions, one of the things going into this fight was, could Malignaggi make this uncomfortable for Khan stylistically? Doesn't seem like he's able to do that.
Well, what's so impressive about Khan's performance thus far
Get up.
is that
Let's go, get up.
conventional wisdom
Stay on your feet, Paulie.
says that to bother a real good boxer, a fleet-footed boxer, although to Harold's point, Malignaggi hasn't been very fleet-footed this fight, but to bother that kind of defensive fighter, you get a pressure fighter who throws a lot of punches. In fact, oftentimes, that backfires because the boxer's used to handling pressure. That the best way to disrupt a good defensive boxer is with another good defensive boxer. And that's what Khan is presenting here to Malignaggi.
And you know, when Malignaggi just got knocked down, Max, I saw a left hook to the body.
Yep.
That when you look at that again on replay, we'll show it to you in between rounds.
Yep, Malignaggi looked to me like he was taking a breather after a body shot.
It was not ruled a knockdown by Steve Smoger because they got entangled as Malignaggi held on and then kind of tumbled down You heard Steve Smoker say, keep your feet, Paulie. But there was a left hook in there that might have been the impetus for that.
In terms of what Malignaggi can do, he's shown through his career that he's a B-plus fighter. He's lost to the A fighters, he's beaten the rest. And part of the matchmaking here, I suppose, is to leave the impression that Khan is an A fighter. After all, he's beating Malignaggi just like the other A fighters beat him. In fact, in a way more impressively in the sense that he is outboxing Malignaggi.
The losses on Malignaggi's resume, Miguel Cotto in 2006. Malignaggi says probably couldn't beat Cotto on any day. The stoppage against Ricky Hatton in November of '08. And then the controversial loss to Juan Diaz.
That's it, way to get out.
I'll just say this about Malignaggi's legs, too. His legs looked very good in the first Diaz fight. But in his last time out against Diaz in the rematch, he didn't move as much as he did in the first fight. He staked out the middle of the ring more. And at the time, the thought was that was a strategic decision. Maybe his legs aren't what they once were. Not that he's an older fighter, but he's had some tough fights.
This is the 237th round on it. Let's take a look at what was not ruled a knockdown as Malignaggi tumbled up right there. Left hook right underneath the elbow. And then Malignaggi was trying to hold on. Eventually went down. It was not ruled a knockdown.
Well, that's something Khan's been doing throughout the fight. When Malignaggi comes in, he puts his right forearm on Malignaggi's shoulders and pushes down. And so it backfired on Khan in that instance because Malignaggi was hurt by the body shot, and it gave Malignaggi an excuse to go down and stop the action without having it ruled a knockdown.
According to CompuBox, in the last round, Khan landed 12 of 24 power shots, 50%. Max, it was an interesting point that you made in the second Diaz fight, which Malignaggi won a unanimous decision. We don't even know if, I don't think he fought as well as he did in the first fight when he had the controversial loss. Something that you brought up with him, less movement, a lot more inconsistencies. Are we seeing kind of a continuation of that?
Well, at the time it seemed as though the staking out the middle of the ring against Diaz was a strategic decision made so that he wouldn't give up too much ground. He could keep Diaz more firmly in the middle of the ring. But looking back at it, to Harold's point again, maybe it's that Malignaggi's legs aren't what they once were. In boxing, it's not like baseball where you get to see a guy hit 600 times a season. The sample sizes are much smaller, so we have to, there's more guesswork involved about where a fighter is physically at a certain point in his career.
Yeah, 238 rounds as a pro. Malignaggi had a good amateur career. He was the U.S. champion in 2001, so there's a lot of miles on the track.
Even look, to go back to the positioning of their hands, fundamentally, it's so much easier for Khan to pick off Malignaggi's jab. Unless Khan's coming forward, Malignaggi's not able to land his jab. Khan just sits back and picks it off with his gloves. Malignaggi, because of the, forget about his smaller size for a second, because he keeps his hands low, is much easier for Khan to hit with that straight jab.
Malignaggi able to connect there. Khan shoots a right hand over the top.
Malignaggi's game plan coming in was to make Khan reach, to jump out to a lead, as I mentioned, and make Khan get desperate and reach. But that in itself is almost an admission that Khan has to make mistakes for Malignaggi to capitalize on. Well, okay, let's say Khan's not making those mistakes. What's plan B? How do you lure him into those traps? And Malignaggi at this moment doesn't seem to have one. Maybe a function of his lack of punching power.
Well, you know, Malignaggi, you know, self-described, loves to talk a lot, but you get a sense from a boxing standpoint that Khan has left him speechless to this point.
Let his fist do the talking.
End of round 6. Paulie Malignaggi getting moved around the ring by Amir Khan. Let's check in with Harold Letterman.
Okay, Bob. 6-0, 60-54, Amir Khan. Bob, I just can't understand why Paulie Malignaggi wants to stand in the middle of that ring like in a phone booth and bang with Amir Khan. Amir Khan's just too big, too strong. He gets off first, he lands the cleanest shots. By the way, I've never seen a guy ever wear a pair of Reebok boxing gloves. Amir Khan's the only one I've ever seen wear them. I don't know where he got them from, but be as it may, he's using them.
Well, he's got huge sponsorship deals in England. And he's got the Reebok logo on there. You know, Max, in between rounds 5 and 6, Freddie Roach in the corner of Amir Khan said, listen, double up that jab, use that jab, keep him at the end of the jab. So what does Khan do in that 6th round? 20 of 38 for his jabs, 53%. The problem for Malignaggi is he's getting outboxed. He does not have power. He only has 5 knockouts, none past the 6th round. What is he to do here?
Yeah, he does have a lot of moxie. He is willing to try to change the course of a fight by roughing up his opponent. But as you mentioned, he doesn't have the power to see it through. And he's fighting a calculating fighter who knows he enjoys all the advantages in Khan. Malignaggi's point that a lot of coddled European fighters fail once they leave Europe and are tested, so far has not borne out tonight. Khan looks like he slept perfectly well last night.
He looks very relaxed in the ring right now. He's in control. Scores with a combination that snaps back the head of Malignaggi.
And incidentally, the one example that Malignaggi brought up of a European fighter who did leave Europe and went on to great success was Lennox Lewis, who obviously the last undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. And Bob, I just wanted to say it's been a pleasure, an honor to call fights with Lennox over the last 4 years. He's a great guy.
Oh, class act, great champion, wonderful gentleman. Good stiff jab from Khan again.
No.
You know, the problem that Malignaggi has always had is he doesn't have the eraser in his hands where a fight could be going the wrong way, a long way, and then he can change the course of the fight. And he's done nothing. You know, even if you say, well, take Khan into deeper waters and see how he deals with the ropes, there's been no pressure on Khan. It's relaxed. It's easy for Amir Khan right now. Like that.
I mean, right from the first round, when it was a long-distance boxing match, it was Khan outboxing Malignaggi, landing all the hard shots. I think Malignaggi was stunned when he realized that what he does best, he's being bested at that from the first moments of the fight.
That's similar to...
That's the last time I'm going to say.
Here you see the jabbing contest. Khan being able to jab from a preferred distance with the longer reach. Malignaggi with his hands down, getting caught right in the face twice.
Numerically, 90 of 229 jabs for Khan. That equates to 39%. He's used his reach, his height, his jab. He's controlled the action through the first 7 rounds.
Yeah, the reason Khan was a big favorite going into this fight is his one weakness so far that he's shown in his career, his inability to absorb a good shot, you know, is the one thing that Malignaggi's not positioned to exploit.
And, you know, you almost got the sense listening to the corner, and Sharif Yunan, who's done a great job with Malignaggi, but it almost is starting to sound like a sell job to keep him in focus, because it looks like Malignaggi mentally is falling out of focus with each second of this fight.
Let me do a sell job. Any young fighters watching right now, especially the athletic fighters, they feel comfortable oftentimes with their hands down because they can see the action better. They feel that their punches are less visible to their opponent because they're coming from strange angles. But look at how easily, in the middle of the ring, Khan is flying Malignaggi's head. And it's happening primarily because Malignaggi's hands are down.
And Khan is always in position to punch.
and positioned to pick punches off. Doesn't look as cool, I know, but it works. Doesn't look as cool to keep your hands in a perfect defensive position, but it works.
That's it, way to get out.
And it really fits in with Khan's temperament. I know he's got a lot of publicity around him in England and everything, but he's pretty reserved when you talk with him, and he's pretty businesslike, and he's pretty serious. And he fights that way. And he's got a great trainer.
You made a baseball reference to start the show, Bob. You know, you have a pitching and defense team with a bunch of singles hitters, and they're down 10-0 late in the game. What do? That's Malignaggi right now.
A bunt isn't going to do it at this point.
Right, you need a 3-run. Well, he needs a 10-run home run right now, and he ain't a home run hitter.
Don't punch. Don't punch, step out.
Just picture perfect by Amir Khan. Picking apart the Magic Man, who doesn't seem to have a trick up his sleeve at this point. Boxing, to watch those punch zone stats happen instantaneously. Now we're getting a timeout.
You okay? Now time. Time out.
Malignaggi always brimming with confidence. Has had the confidence jabbed right out of it. Good jab there by Malignaggi.
And we see with Malignaggi, as Harold pointed out in the after the third round, when Malignaggi is up on his toes, he's harder to hit. He really doesn't have much head movement, as you see there. When he's stationary, he has a little upper body movement. He has one pet move where he ducks down to his right, but otherwise has never really avoided punches with head movement. He avoids it with his feet. So when he is flat-footed, as he has been for much of this fight, he's much easier to hit than when he is bouncing on his toes. I wonder if he feels that when he's bouncing on his toes against Khan, he's out of position to punch because of Khan's superior height and reach.
Well, then he's betwixt and between. No matter which style he picks, he's losing.
One of the great advantages of Freddie Roach as a trainer, and this goes for many trainers, Freddie Roach, Emanuel Stewart, the top guys, are also excellent matchmakers. And you see Freddie's influence in terms of opponents selected and why he would select them.
Well, he says they'd like a guy like Maidana next, someone who...
Maidana's a big puncher, and the thought has been that Khan's really just beating Paulie up.
Let me ask you at this point, I know Paulie is as game as they come. He fought with the fractured orbital bone against Cotto, but he has no power in his hands. He never has. I mean, at some point, if you're the corner, you look out for the guy and just say, you know what, this is enough of a beating.
I really think he's taken more clean shots in this fight than he did against Ricky Hatton, and his corner stopped the Ricky Hatton fight around this time in the fight. Paulie was very upset by that, and I'm sure is going to beg to continue fighting here, but you can understand if his corner maybe thinks enough is enough. Not that he's about to get knocked out, but it's at a certain point it becomes pointless punishment.
And that was with Buddy McGirt when he worked with him. He says, you know, Sharif Younan has done a really good job of getting Malignaggi back to what he does best, but here he's just totally outclassed.
You know, especially since it's so many clean shots to the head. The head shots are really precise, and there are a lot of them from Khan.
And I guess they're could be hanging the hat on the fact that, you know, Khan was knocked out once. If we can get him on the chin. So Malignaggi.
Go on top of the roof.
Amir Khan left, and then there comes the right,
you know,
and on the face of Malignaggi.
Malignaggi danced right out of range just then, or it could have been much worse. Most of the power on that shot had dissipated before it landed on Malignaggi's face, and it still landed with good effect.
Let's check in with an unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
What can you say, Bob? 9-0, 90-81 Amir Khan. He's still standing in the middle of the ring, getting off first, landing a perfect, beautiful, hard, effective shots. And you know, just winning this fight on clean, effective punching. Yeah, Paulie's trying, but he's taking a beating. 9-0, Amir Khan.
Well, here, the numbers, the CompuBox numbers from the last round. Malignaggi landed a connect high 23 punches in the last round. Khan landed 31.
And Khan's were more effective.
Yeah. Again, who would you rather be?
I mean, Malignaggi defensively has certain flaws, even though he hasn't been hit much by most of his opponents throughout his career. He backs straight up in a line instead of stepping around at times. And Khan's exploiting some technical deficiencies of Malignaggi.
Right hand over the top from Amir Khan.
Beyond just the positioning of Malignaggi's hands.
Victor Ortiz started the night by whitewashing Nate Campbell over 10 rounds. And Amir Khan has picked up where Ortiz left off, totally whitewashing Paulie Malignaggi.
Yeah, I mean, heading into the night, the question was there a miscalculation in terms of matchmaking with the two young stars, Khan and Ortiz, against the two veterans who come up the hard way and had to pay dues? And the answer is no. They were matched perfectly. But they both deserve credit for for winning every round.
Literally.
Yeah. Ortiz and Khan together have won every single round tonight.
No talking from Malignaggi, none of that stuff. It's because he's had a jab in his mouth.
That's it. That's what you do.
It's that easy for Amir Khan.
Khan has talked about taking Maidana next. He resents the idea that he's ducking Maidana. But, you know, if you're building your fighter back from a knockout loss, Maidana's a tremendous puncher. He is technically totally outclassed by Khan, at least on paper. But before you take that kind of risk against a fighter who punches like Maidana, you want to get your fighter's confidence back. And against Kotelnik and Malignaggi, two very good boxers, Khan's confidence looks sky high.
Wake up. Listen, step in. The right hand you're not throwing. Come on, baby. Come on.
What are we going to do? Hold on. All right. Time.
And Steve Smoger, you know, Steve Smoger came in and told Malignaggi, you got to do something. Malignaggi.
He's good. What? He's good.
He's done?
He's good. He's good.
Let's go one more.
One more.
You're good.
You're going to give him one more round. You know, Steve Smoger's doing a good job of it.
I love what the commission's doing here, what the doctor's doing. And the only problem is, I think Malignaggi's corner has to protect him now, because there's no way Malignaggi's going to say, yeah, I've had enough.
Well, yeah, because that's not his temperament. That's not what he's all about. And they're trying to exhort him on to do something that he's never done before. He's never knocked anybody out.
Well, I mean,
After the 6th round, he doesn't have. He's got 5 knockouts.
No, but you know, look at Khan's eyes. They are very reddened. Maybe a crazy cut could open up. You never can tell. It is the fight game. The question always is in these situations: is it worth the risk? Here, I would say no. The win for Paulie's not worth the risk. If he could somehow do something miraculous, he's getting hit too cleanly, too often, and I think his corner should protect him from himself before too long.
Because he's not going to quit.
No.
I mean, and I think the corner is not looking at this realistically, like he's got a chance to win this fight somehow. They're asking him to do something he doesn't do. Knock somebody out.
Well, he threw that left hook like he meant it. Malignaggi is throwing his version of knockout shots.
Left hand thumps off the head of Malignaggi.
Khan's knockout shots look more convincing. Good stoppage by Steve Smoger.
Well done. Because he beat Paulie Malignaggi at his own game, and he was dominant. Referee Steve Smoger, really, he called timeout before the start of the last 2 rounds. Told Malignaggi, I'm going to give you 1 more round. And it wasn't even from that sequence. It was some of the other punches before that. Malignaggi just did not have anything to deal with Khan. There's a good step-in left hand by Amir Khan, and it was just too easy for him. He landed 41% of his jabs, 38% of his power shots, dominating this fight.
The winner by TKO victory and still WBA Super Lightweight Champion of the World from Bolton, Lancashire, England, Amir King Khan.
Amir Khan retains his 140-pound belt.